watching Amithaverma. Today I wanted to share one of my favorite ways to really inspire my home and my family. With spring upon us, there are so many reasons to celebrate. One of my favorite things about the springtime is it's a perfect time for a little bit more formal entertaining. You often find this season is filled with amazing, wonderful spring events like wedding showers, baby showers, Easter holiday, and other spring soirees. So today I wanted to share with you some of my favorite spring tabletop ideas. So today I wanted to walk you through a spring tabletop and show you something that I'm probably going to be doing in my own home very soon to welcome our new baby nephew, which we're very excited about. I'm going to be working with a very classic color palette to bring some very gorgeous, elegant designs into my spring tabletop this year. If you want to add instant sophistication and elegance into any room, my favorite go-to color palette is blue and white. I blogged about the history of this color palette before, and if you're curious about blue and white, I'll share a link with you below this video. Now I know some of you may have a love or hate relationship with blue and white, but I really urge you to reconsider it and learn a little bit more about this very beautiful color palette. It's so classic, it's so inspiring, you'll find it at any price point, and it goes with virtually any home decor. I know that's a big statement, but whether you're working with pale pastels, bright, bold, saturated colors, a room just filled with painted furniture, a room filled with antiques, a room filled with dark tone furniture, and even a room filled with ultra modern, blue and white truly goes with everything. The first thing I like to do before I get started is to really sketch my ideas out. I know what you're thinking, come on now Amitha, going to sketch it out, that sounds like a lot of work and very hard. But I promise you this is actually the easiest and fastest way to accomplish a beautiful table. This can be something really simple like you do on a napkin. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it really helps organize all the ideas that can be out there. For instance, I had a great vision of clustering a large group of blue and white objects and filling them with fresh flowers. Now in design, when you cluster a grouping of like objects, it's visually very strong and makes a very bold design statement. But when I sketched it out, I could see that this was a very dense grouping, meaning you really wouldn't be able to see through the entire table, and I felt like some of the people may not even be able to conversate. Now, of course, the whole purpose of entertaining is to create a beautiful ambiance so people feel welcome and appreciated, and of course can indulge in an evening or afternoon of wonderful leisurely conversation. So I scrapped that idea and decided to get something else out on my table that would really be more complimentary and conducive towards conversation. I also like to decide on the height of the pieces that I'm going to use at the beginning so I know if the design of my table is right for the event that I'm hosting. To get started, I'm going to weave a little bit of fabric here on top of my table. On this tablescape, I'm not going to be using a tablecloth. There's no right or wrong, it totally depends on you and the tone that you're going for your room and for your event. On this table, I love the table and I want to show it off, and my event is a little bit more casual. So I'm just going to use a little bit of fabric to tie in my color palette, and this is one of my favorite ways of bringing in seasonal ribbons to add a little bit of color and help guide the design and the tone of the tabletop. Now I'm going to take my ribbon and just weave it throughout my table and really create these very beautiful loose loops all throughout my table and use that to interweave my objects into, as you will see. Now for the centerpiece, I decided to use a very beautiful piece of pottery. Now the color palette is blue and white, so I'm gonna fill this pottery with food and flowers, and I'm gonna take color cues from the pieces that I'm working with and allow that to help guide me. So working with nature, that might be some fruits, some cheeses, and pieces that I could really easily pass around into this platter. Again, I want to keep my table open so people can be free to conversate, so I've decided to keep my centerpiece low to begin with. Next, I'm going to work my way down and move up in height a little bit and add a medium height and size object. One of my tricks is to always start at the middle of my table and then work my way all the way down to the left or the right of the table. Pick one side, that way I can repeat the exact same thing on the other side once I have it all figured out. Since my color palette is blue and white, I've decided to use this pair of very beautiful ginger jars. I love the coloring, I love the size. It's not too tall, so all the people sitting around this part of the table are gonna be able to see each other very easily. I'm gonna go and finish these off with a little bit of fresh flowers inside. Fresh flowers are one of my big insider designer secrets. Adding fresh flowers to your table will create a sense of elegance, freshness, and connecting the indoors to the outdoors. Just run by your local grocery store, get a bunch that really ties into the color palette that you're working in, cut them yourself, and arrange them. You don't have to spend a fortune on them. You can really do this yourself, and I promise you it's gonna help you create a very, very beautiful table. Next, I really love adding in seasonal objects. This next space and the table is the great area for me to put in objects that relate to the event of the holiday that we're celebrating. This might be Easter objects, this might be Thanksgiving objects, Christmas ornaments, baby shower items, but these little pockets are the perfect place to add smaller additional objects to help tie it into your event. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of height with these taller jars here and then top these off with fresh flowers. I know what you're thinking, you may not like to have anything high on your table because it can be disruptive to conversation. I agree, but at the same time, I really love including one or two objects that are really high to give my table some variety and height. Last, I added a few small plates to fill in some of the gaps throughout my table. You can do this with little butter plates, candles, and any other small objects that tie back into the design of your table. For those of you on the fence over blue and white, I hope you can see just how beautiful this color palette can be. Don't be intimidated, it sounds really cool, but in the end, it can be a very warm, inviting, beautiful color palette to work with on your tabletop and of course in other areas throughout your home. Leave a comment and let us know your favorite spring entertaining decorating tip. We love hearing from you, so please be sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. If you know anyone that would love this vlog, who really loves decorating and tabletop decor, please be sure to share this vlog with him or her. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time. This area was constructed to make apple cider. On the bottom floor of this side of the building, there was the actual mechanism to make the cider, the industrial production of the cider. And above, on the second story, there's a staircase that leads